Hello and welcome to this video. I'm ATO and I'm a full stack developer. I've built several apps and published on the App Store, and today I'm going to talk to you about the challenges I faced along the way when learning how to code and ultimately on my journey to become a full stack developer. So if you're currently learning how to code and you're facing any struggle, buckle up and watch this video to the end, as I'm going to share my own personal experience, not experience gotten from the internet or any other generic place. I'll share with you my own personal experience and how I did to overcome these challenges. Before we get right into this video, if you're looking for a community of developers and a place to access my free courses, check the link in my description as I have a free community which has limited spaces. Now, let's get to the video. So learning how to code is not an easy thing to do, especially when you're just starting out. It can feel very daunting, it can feel even overwhelming, and along the way you feel like giving up a countless amount of times. The first challenge that I was facing when I started learning how to code was loneliness. And when I say loneliness, it doesn't mean I didn't have friends and family around me. In this context, when I talk about loneliness, I mean loneliness in the task I was doing. So I was basically the only person I knew who was learning how to code. So it wasn't always very exciting. I didn't have anybody to look up to or someone to compete with, because when you're doing something with someone, with a friend, with your brother or something, there's always that kind of competition among you guys. I'm talking about a healthy competition, like the first to understand this one has won the competition, for example. So I didn't have people who share the same interest with me. I was basically alone. So getting discouraged and giving up and coming back was a very easy thing to do, and it was something that I did a lot. Like today I'll wake up, I'll not feel like coding, I won't code, or I'll reach a roadblock, I won't feel like moving forward, and I'll just stop. And that happened for several months and several years, until finally, just a few years ago, I decided to really focus and take my journey seriously. The second challenge I had that I know many people have is impatience. So impatience is basically not wanting to go through the hardship and wait for a positive result at the end of the day. When you're impatient, you're rushing to go to the result, but you're not willing to go through the hardship and go through the pain that is required to get you to that result. So I was very impatient. I wanted to live from 0 to 100 in a month or in a week. And along the way, I realized that it was difficult, so I would get discouraged and stop coding, or I give up. So I wasn't very patient. When I hit maybe a roadblock or when I start doing an exercise that is too difficult, I'll take a break. When I make break in quotes, it means that I'll take a break and not come back and finish the exercise. So I wasn't impatient, I wanted results fast, and ultimately that held me down a lot in my journey. The third thing, and something great about this, is that I'm not the only one who faced this, and I know a lot of people who face it today. I can even say that the majority of people who are not able to focus today is because of this very problem, that is distractions. I wasn't able to sit for an hour straight and focus on my task or focus on coding. I'll get distracted, let's say with a text message, with a WhatsApp message, or I'll get distracted with watching animes, with watching stuff. You know, nowadays there is always something to do. So if you don't have the ability to focus for a particular amount of time, so you give yourself like 3 to 4 hours to focus, you are never going to be able to learn, or you're never going to be able to be good. I was too distracted. I was watching too many movies, too many animes, and I wasn't able to focus. So that was one of my greatest hindrances to success. And finally, the biggest challenge that I had to overcome was that I wasn't able to spend a lot of time coding. So nowadays I can spend 5 to 10 hours coding, especially when I have an interesting project I'm working on. But when I was starting out, I couldn't even sit for 1 hour to focus and code for more than 1 hour. After an hour, I'll feel tired, I'll feel discouraged because it was too difficult, and I would just give up. Whereas the more time you spend trying to get the hang of it, the more you're going to be able to find ways to overcome whatever problem you're having. So it's very important to spend a lot of time coding. Now, the way I did to overcome these challenges was a very simple way, and was basically to do the opposite of what I was already doing wrong. So for the loneliness problem, I wasn't able to overcome that because I wasn't able to find a community of people who were coding as me. I wasn't able to find friends who were interested in coding. So I didn't solve that loneliness problem. I was still alone when I was learning. But the main problem I solved was the impatience problem. I became very patient when learning how to code. I basically took a book, I started back learning from scratch, So I took coding like I'd never seen any line of code before. I took a book, I took a YouTube tutorial. I spent countless amount of time going through that book, reading through the line, doing every single exercise, every single example, and there were more than 100 exercises in that book. I kid you not. 100 is even small. There were more than 200 exercises, and I remember I did nearly everything in that book. And even when it came to tutorials or YouTube tutorials, I'll take a video, even if the video is 20 hours long, I'll be patient, go through the video step by step, follow along with the video, and do everything the video instructed me to do. So I decided that I'll do everything I have to do to really start understanding this coding. And then obviously I was able to put aside distractions, because when you overcome the last challenge, that is spending a lot of time coding, automatically you put away the distractions. Because I started spending 5 to 8 hours every single day, even during the holidays, even during Easter, I will spend all my days coding, all my days learning how to code. I don't know if everybody is going to go through extreme lengths to really learn how to code, but that is what worked for me, and I hope that if you're struggling with coding, you should be able to take a radical turn towards approaching learning how to code. Sometimes you can't just afford to just change what you're doing and keep doing smaller things. You have to radically change. You have to start doing bigger things, like you have to live from 0 to 100 in your actions. I don't mean in your expectation, but in your actions. So if you are used to reading 1 hour every day or coding 1 hour every day, you can live from 1 hour to 8 hours. That is what I did, and that worked very fine. And along the way, the main thing you have to incorporate when learning how to code is doing projects. Because I wasn't only spending time taking tutorials, doing exercises, I also took a project that I wanted to do, because it was actually a problem that I spotted in the society that I had. I tried to solve the problem by myself, and I used a project to build the solution to that problem, and I ultimately solved it. And doing that project made me realize that even after spending 8 hours every single day coding, there was still a lot I didn't know, because doing the project showed me how little I knew. And that project really unlocked a lot of levels in my way of thinking, because once you start getting used to coding, once you start getting used to programming, there's another layer you have to attain, that is the problem solving layer. And you only reach that layer when you start doing lots of projects or doing lots of real world projects, because you're not only learning how to code, you're also learning how to solve a problem and offer a solution to a user so that the user can be able to use it intuitively. So it's not only about you and the code, it's not about you, the code, and the user. So there's all these things you have to think about as a developer, and I only was able to think about as a developer when I was able to overcome the challenges I stated in the beginning of this video. So I really hope this video was helpful. If you're going through struggles right now, if you're not able to really figure out how to get better at coding, how to change your story and become an actual developer, let's say by the end of this year, try just incorporating these very simple steps, and you're going to come and tell me the change. So I wasn't able to solve the loneliness problem, but I offer a solution for anybody who has this loneliness problem. So you can join my free community of developers and access my free courses for front-end development in the community. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like and leave a sub, and see you in the next one.